Those kids are not back yet. Hello, guys. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you guys so much for joining me. Hang on a second. It's a little dark in here. All right. So tonight we're going to be talking about Attention Nation, Lonely Fans. I don't like to get political on my channel, but I tend to get into this temptation that I have to talk about things that are remotely related to the topic that is at hand. And so I'm going to touch on this very important topic because I was looking for some information on why it is there are so many lonely men out there and why it is there are so many people on these platforms selling a life and fantasy that doesn't really exist. And I want to be careful with my language because I don't want to be part of cancel nation, but this is an important topic because if you have children, or if you are in the dating market, or if you relate to people in any shape or form, this is going to be one of the founding issues between female and male relationships. So, and that's the only element I'm going to be dealing with because there are many other elements to this prawn industry that are affecting other sectors of society, but we're just going to stick with female and male relationships. Now, why is it that women seem to be so addicted to being on these platforms and selling these fantasies that they're selling with no regard for the future consequences of what it may do to their relationship prospects, to their self esteem, to their mental health? I'm going to offer up a psychological perspective, not based on my own words, but bear with me because it comes from a group of psychologists, Freud not included, um, that the attention seeking behavior is one of the most dangerously addictive kinds of behavior for a subset of people who suffer from issues who suffer from special kinds of mental issues. Now, I want you to be able to go and look at the research yourself about attention seeking disorder, the need for validation, and the need to be seen, and low self esteem, and all of the anxiety, depression, and all of the things that come along with it. But for the women who are involved in this industry on the receiving end of monies for exchange for fantasy, we need to look very closely at what it is saying to the objectification of the female species and what that means in terms of a psychological epidemic, if you may, is that women are participating in their own demise by participating, and this has been going on since the invention of prawn magazines, but women are participating in their own demise by actively seeking to be involved in these lonely fans platforms that prey on exactly that, lonely people. And I don't feel like the mental decay is being taken into place. And so this is really a warning to young women who are considering, if not already in this industry, because I get it. I get it. There is a reward system for likes, clicks, and subscription. And the dopamine effect, when you get online and you see the likes, clicks, and in this case, it's even more addictive because you're talking dollars and cents, is real. But it is also equally creating a moral decay. And I don't want to get into moral decay from some high and mighty perspective, but this is X work, and there's X work and then there's X work. But people lie and trick themselves into thinking that, okay, I'm not actually physically doing anything with these people, so it's not as bad. But it is forever on the internet because the internet is a permanent platform. There have been things that I've said and done that exist somewhere that I, don't stay up at night thinking about, but sometimes I do because I know that maybe I might have thought that way or have felt that way at that time, but now I don't feel that way, but that is forever there. And we have to be cognizant and do a little bit of social diligence and responsibility, even if we don't decide to have children or to to change our image as people, to be able to understand what the mental ramifications are of this. And I want people who are on the other end who are looking at these young women and saying, oh, that's so disgusting and she's so gross for doing that. And think of this is exactly like if it were a person who was addicted to alcohol or drugs. The reward system, let's go back to the dopamine reward system. The reward system of showing and getting attention for money is a real thing that people struggle with and cannot stop. And you see that in a simple thing like being on other platforms where people are showing pictures of them with their best angle and showing selfies and showing their food. We all participate in this reward social media dopamine reward system. And when we don't get it, and we're constantly seeking external validation, these people are human beings too. They're also seeking validation. And the validation that they're getting, while not real, while not sincere, while not be up to your moral standard, is causing a serious disconnect between male female relations because it's selling a fantasy of what women are, and it is also reinforcing the loneliness and keeping men trapped in a box by disallowing them to actually learn how to have real, connected, intimate relationships with real women. So, this is a problem for everybody because the women who participate in this, I know people who have written articles and investigative reports that have been done about people in the porn industry in general. The suicide rate is extremely high because the validation and the external validation that is necessary to maintain that dopamine force gets worse and worse and worse. And once they're hit with the reality of maturation and the idea and the reality that nobody wants to have an actual relationship with somebody who has done this, then they hit rock bottom emotionally. And it works on the other side too. The lonely fans who buy this kind of content and realize they can never actually have a relationship with this person or feel a shame and guilt for actually viewing such immoral and degenerate videos or whatever streams, whatever the situation may be, when they're finished with that and go back to their lonely lives in the basement where they live, are also suffering and have a high level of depression and anxiety because the increasing need for female connectiveness and replacing it with a fantasy is like having a cheese sandwich when you really need steak, when you really need vitamins and minerals and nutrients. And so the attention nation is on the brink of worldwide destruction, and there's a lot of work that needs to be unpacked. But I don't want us to forget the women and what is happening and being done to them as they as the turnover in the industry is getting higher and higher. Well, that's just my guess. I don't really know if that's true. So let me just put that out there before somebody say, yeah, that's it, and she never really know. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Please stay safe and stay free. I open the floor to everyone for their comments. But please, of course, just be respectful about it. And I'll see you in the next one.